Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
When the hunt matters, trust the gear that's built to perform. At Scree Gear, we design premium hunting apparel that keeps you comfortable, concealed, and ready for whatever the mountain throws your way. From early season spot and stalk hunts to late season extremes, Scree Gear is trusted by hunters who refuse to compromise. And if you want to sharpen your skills and follow real hunting adventures, watch Scree TV on Waypoint TV. Visit ScreeGear.com to gear up today. Then catch Scree TV on Waypoint TV and experience the hunt like never before.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about war dogs. Now, dogs have been used in war, I imagine, for centuries. As far as the U.S., we started doing it really in World War II. We decided at that point we would take any dog could be volunteered. So we were just down for like bringing all the dogs, and people would actually donate their dog to the war effort kind of thing. I don't know if we were like cleaning out dog pounds or what, but I mean, we were sending them over like crazy, and they would take any breed. But at that point, they kind of figured out that certain breeds are really better suited for war, and certain breeds have different specialties. I don't know, like, so German Shepherds, right? Good guard dogs, and they were good out on patrol. Whereas certain dogs like Labs and Beagles were better with their sense of smell and could do, real tracking like that. Did you see them using bloodhounds, Kevin? Is that what you were saying? Or you didn't read anything either on that?
Yeah, well, the bloodhounds mostly have been used
later
for police stuff. That was
Okay.
the first dog they used, that police used, and they used it for tracking people,
Right. And so, I mean, the dogs are pretty cool. Did you want to talk about the different types of breeds, or you want to just kind of get into some of the stuff they do?
Yeah, well, let's go through some of the most common breeds.
All right.
So obviously there's the German Shepherd. That one's a big one. And, they're herding, they're bred to herd, and that makes them perfect for like canine dog units. They're loyal, and they're really easily trained. German Shepherds are really smart dogs, and you'll see that through most of the dog breeds. Most of the dog breeds that they use are really intelligent types.
I gotta say, I'm a little reluctant to get a German Shepherd because I'm always afraid of having a dog that's smarter than me, and that's my biggest fear.
I remember years ago I was in Spain when I was in the Navy, and there was a girl there who had a German Shepherd that she was training, and man, it got a hold of her arm and fucked her up pretty good.
Yeah,
but she didn't. She bandaged it herself and didn't let anybody know because they'd have to put the dog down. And apparently, she thought that she had made the mistake, not the dog, and tried to keep it a secret. But I don't know what ended up happening with that. But they can be very aggressive. Given the right circumstances, but typically they won't ever attack their trainer or their owner.
Okay. Typically.
You don't want
to be the guy who goes out and kicks your dog every morning when you got the German Shepherd.
No,
probably not the move.
Now, another one is the Beagle. Now, I didn't know this about the Beagle, but apparently they use a
Snoopy
lot.
was a Beagle.
Snoopy was a Beagle. And generally they're used, they have a great sense of smell. So generally they're used for like searching, narcotic detection, and they're used in airports and border areas a lot.
And flying those Red Baron planes.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
The Belgian Malinois. It's a type of German Shepherd. It's just like a smaller German Shepherd.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking a
that's
bigger
actually
dog. Right?
used by SEAL Team 6. They use
Oh.
those.
And 6, they're the coolest of all the SEAL teams. So.
Of all the SEAL teams, right?
Whenever you're telling a lie at a bar and you're like, "Yeah, I was a SEAL," and they're like, "Oh, what team?" and they're about to call you out, you just go with 6. You're like, "Oh yeah, I'm real badass."
6.
6.
Yeah. Every SEAL I've ever met that wasn't really a SEAL told
SEAL
me
Team 6.
Yep.
Yeah. So where are you out of? Oh, we moved around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was in the CBs, my building was right next to their building. I know exactly where they hang out. Bloodhounds. And we were talking about bloodhounds a minute ago. They're great for tracking. They're originally used as hunting dogs, and that's why they're so good for tracking down people. And they can follow a scent trail for miles. When they're trying to track somebody down or chase somebody down, or even find like missing hikers and things like that.
Well, I think we really honed our basically the usefulness of dogs during Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Vietnam is really when, as far as America goes, we kind of, drilled into what their usefulness was. And, we had just a 12-week training that we set up for the dogs. And it would be more acclimating the handler with the dog and understanding each other. Then it wasn't necessarily that a dog needed 12 weeks of training to learn, but the two needed to learn together to kind of how to understand each other and get to know each other. A dog can smell and was used to like find people hiding 1,000 yards away. So that's before they're in effective shooting range, for your average soldier. This isn't, we're not rocking the Barrett or even a nice 308 back then, although 7.62 does sound like 308. They could, believe it or not, they could smell the scent of a human to find the tunnels and also to find traps. Just somebody touching like the ordnance or whatever on a booby trap, they could, smell from somebody's hands being on it, and they could alert handlers to it. Believe it or not, another cool thing that I was not aware of till I started doing the research on this is they could actually hear when the wind hit a tripwire, that it would make like a high-pitched tone, kind of a little different sound when there was a tripwire in the area. And they could actually kind of pinpoint and go to where it was and know, to point it out. So pretty cool stuff like that. I know in Vietnam, they had a lot of trouble where the Viet Cong were so afraid of them, the dogs, that, just the fact that they were so effective, they would, they had like tattoos in their ears for the dogs, and you had a badge on your arm for being a dog handler. They would offer rewards for anybody who got a dog's ear or for those patches. So throughout Vietnam, 263 handlers were killed and 500 dogs. And then Agent Orange took care of a whole bunch of them later too. So
took them out later on.
Yeah, it didn't end well. The just sniffing on the ground. That's like, remember they talked about after September 11th, how big a deal that was as far as the dogs breathing in all that stuff. When they're out there searching for bodies, they're breathing in all that, I'm sure they'll tell you it's asbestos or whatever. I don't know. I just imagine sniffing dust all day isn't really, ideal, but who knows? Although, I know we've talked about asbestos in the past. Now, who else was a big fan of training dogs was Hitler. Turns out in World War II, now he was a little ahead of the game as far as, what you think of what we were doing in Vietnam. He, I think, chose a different approach.
Now, when we talk about Hitler and the dogs, you have to understand we're not talking about the young Hitler trying to come to power Hitler. we're talking about the holes in the brain from too much crystal meth at the end of the war, Hitler.
Well, during the early 30s. So, yeah, you were getting into trouble by then already. So, so his theory was that we could have dogs that would know how to talk, read, spell, and that way he could get ahead of the enemy, right? Because the enemy's dogs don't talk and spell, so he figured they were almost as intelligent as humans. And like I said, I've met some humans that, you know what, dude, at work yesterday, I had a guy who is an engineer, and I handed him a crescent wrench, and he couldn't figure out that you could tighten it or change it. And he didn't understand why I would give him a wrench that didn't fit the nut that he was using. And I'm like, no, really? I'm like, oh, you just tighten it. And he just kept staring at me like I had two heads. And I'm like, all right. So, there might be some dogs out there that, they
can figure out a crescent wrench.
Right. Now, so he did set up a dog school. It is rumored that he did have a dog that when you asked, who was your leader, the dog would whisper "Mein Führer."
Say? A talking dog, huh?
A talking dog. There was also reported that he had several dogs that could like tap out the alphabet. And some were even speculated on religion and poetry. I mean, that's, you've seen that play out probably.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of bullshit, but I read the same thing. I read the same stuff. So, yeah.
You were right. Now, Hitler was known throughout the war for, loving dogs. He owned 2 German Shepherds, as you pointed out to me earlier, Blondie and Bella. And it was known worldwide that he killed Blondie moments before he committed suicide in his bunker in 1945. I'm not sure why.
Blondie was the first to go. Well, they didn't want the Allies to capture the dog and then get all that advanced German dog technology with a dog.
And the dog could just tell him what happened. He could tap it out, So anyway, sorry, I didn't want to really go down this spiral here, but I mean, they were talking about the dogs meeting foreign dignitaries and how they would, ask, "Hey, can you wag your tail?" And all kinds of great conversation. I was fascinated. So, the dogs are definitely setting the standard in the war effort.
That's right.
All right, moving right along. What do you got? You had some kind of special dog you wanted to tell me about? Oh, no more tricks?
More dogs we got to get through. So 3 of the other common military dogs are Rottweilers.
Okay.
Labradors and Doberman Pinschers. So Rottweilers are intelligent, and everybody knows that's dealt with a Rottweiler. They're stocky, sturdy dogs.
Yeah, they are.
It takes a lot to push one of those dogs around.
Yeah.
Labradors are loyal, intelligent, and they're really good at tracking scents. So that's the reason they are. Now, I've never been a big fan of Labradors. They're too friendly and not aggressive enough. I wouldn't think they would be good for military dogs, but they do use them quite a bit. And the Dobermans, they're intelligent, brave, and they're really fast. Now, a lot of people don't think of Dobermans that way, but they're really fast dogs, so they're good for chasing down people.
And they're scary as hell. I
don't
know anybody who looks at a Doberman and it's like, yeah, I'll walk in that guy's lawn. I don't give a shit. I don't know anybody who thinks that. I had this one customer back when I used to do the appliance repair that I show up, and she had these 2 giant Dobermans, and they're just tall, they're just big dogs. Right. I mean, all Dobermans seem to be very skinny, but he was really tall, and he would kind of look intimidating and come up to you and then jump up and just lick your cheek or something just to show you hey, I could rip your face off if I want to, and it'd always be something like that.
Right.
That intimidation factor. I think they definitely knew what they were doing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So, all right. So, I do have a story here about a dog named Sally Ann Jarrett. Now, that was a dog that was used during the Civil War. And
Okay.
it was a pit bull. It was either a pit bull or a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, which is it's basically the same dog. They were the same dog, and then they were kind of bred apart. But it's really basically the same thing. And I know pit bulls are nasty animals, and I've heard quite a few stories of that.
Yeah, that's the thing with pit bulls is they're just like solid muscle. So they definitely have like an intimidation factor, and the fact that everybody's breeding them and training them to be, crazy fighting dogs and whatever ends up people actually are breeding together to get the most vicious and effective fighting dogs. It really gives them a bad rap. And then, see, when you go to the dog kennel, it's funny because they all look like pit bulls. When you go there, the ones that people are giving away, and it's just bad. They nobody wants to take them because they're so afraid of the idea. People have built up. Now, there's great pit bulls, and you can have a really calm, gentle, kind pit bull dog. They definitely happen and can be awesome, but you just run the risk, and especially at shelters, you never know, where they're coming from. And unless you're prepared to spend some time training and dealing with them, it's really hard to, it scares people off. Yeah. So they get a bad rap. But
I was gonna say I had a friend of mine that trained dogs, trained fighting dogs up in Alaska, and that's what he used. And he fed him gunpowder and did all the nasty shit. To me, it's kind of gross, that sort of shit. But turns some people on watching dogs fuck each other up. Whatever. But
I guess.
So this one was given to a regiment in the early 1860s, and ended up being in this, the battalion's dog in the Civil War. Its name was Sally Ann, and it was named after a hooker. It said it was named after a lady that would hang out with the troops.
Oh, she
could have just been muffins. I don't know. Could have just been muffins, but either way. So the dog Sally Ann was separated from her battalion during Gettysburg, and they found it a few days later. It was still hanging out on the battlefield with wounded soldiers, keeping them company. So that was pretty cool. But then she ended up getting shot in the Battle of Hatcher's Run in 1865. So that dog was, there's a big bronze statue of it and all sorts of stuff. But most of the stories about military dogs are not like happy ones. Most of the time it's the dog gets shot and then ends up saving the owner or the trainer from getting killed. So most of the time, that's really what dogs are used for, to go in first and draw fire, which is, it's kind of fucked up, but I'd rather kill a dog than a person.
It's kind of. There's a lot of people in our audience who love their dog more than they love people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I love myself more than my dog.
I think you love your dog
more than most people.
Yeah, well, right.
If it's between the two of us, that ain't going to be a choice, It's not a hard decision.
Oh, yeah. Between the two, you and the dog, huh? All right.
Now, I have an Australian Shepherd, and personally, that's my favorite breed of dog. I'm only going to get Australian Shepherds from now on, when I get dogs. Yep.
You're committed.
I like that breed. They're loyal, they're brave, they're aggressive, they're protective, and they're really gentle with kids. So, to me, that's a perfect dog.
Yeah. I think my dog is definitely a mutt, but he's a Australian Shepherd, Hound, and Collie, if that's not a weird mix. So I think that the parent, and it's funny, he kind of looks like a lab, right? Is that your take on that? Most people are like, he's a lab.
He does kind of look like a lab, and most Australian Shepherds have the tail docked. but yours obviously isn't. 'Cause it's not a
Right.
it's kind of a mix, right?
Not a purebred.
Mhm.
Nobody was worried about it. Right. I don't know. Smart dog, but whines. I think that's one of the things.
Yeah,
Is they
mine's a
whine a
little
little
whiny.
bit.
If his
A little
breakfast
whiny.
is a half
I
hour
think
late, he
collies
gets a
might be a
little
little
whiny.
whiny too.
Hmm.
Gets a little whiny. All right. I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a million books and videos and on training dogs and whatever. But the bottom line is, it really
Hmm.
is about time. Um, it's a commitment, and it's about you spending time with your dog and getting to know your dog, and also having trust between you and your dog, building up that relationship and connection between the two of you, where the dog wants to do, but it's also like raising a child. You know that if you just give a child anything it wants, it's going to be whiny and
Right.
needy and
Uh-huh.
kind of annoying, right? I mean, that's what happens. There has to be some kind of order and structure and discipline, and it all kind of goes the same way with dog training. It's just
Hmm.
like training a kid. But the more you're reliable, consistent, and put the time in, then you're going to start to see
Right.
results. If you want to kind of raise your dogs up to be effective, an effective team
Yeah, and
member,
I
if you
find
will.
most dogs respond best to positive training. Where you reward them
Yeah.
for doing something
Yes.
properly. But children respond best by beatings. So I
Yes,
reward my
that is
dog
accurate.
when it does good, and I beat my child when he does bad, and different
All right.
ways.
Now you beat your child when your dog does bad. I mean, that's
I'll
just
teach
kind of
you.
mean, but
Look at what I'm doing to him. Hmm.
I mean, hey, teach
That's
his
right.
own, right?
That's right. So ultimately, I think it's important. I mean, I'm a dog person. I think most of us. I think you're also a dog person. You're not a cat. You hate cats, don't you? Yeah.
Definitely not a cat person, but I don't know. I like the wife's been hounding me about getting
Yeah.
another dog now, and because technically our dog now is the daughter's dog, and someday the kids will move out off on their own
Oh
and take the
no.
dog with them. It is
Yeah, I
the
don't know if that's ever
theory.
gonna happen, dude.
Yeah, I don't see that ever happening. One, I mean, if I could get the kids to move out, that'd be one thing. But then two, to actually
Hmm.
take the dog, that's a whole other thing too. So, because dogs don't go off to
Yeah.
college, it turns out.
Now I would like to see. I'll take some pictures and post them on Facebook of my dog. I'd love to see everybody's dog pics. I know Darren Taylor has an Australian Shepherd too. His is really fat though.
Oh,
You got a fat dog, Darren. He's got
yeah.
smaller fat dogs orbiting his dog.
Is that what happens? I don't know. That's a little disturbing. That would be Darren over at Mayhem Country
Yeah.
Living. I don't know. You guys are disturbing. Now, I think I'm actually banned. Facebook banned me from posting in the Prepping Badass
Yeah.
group. Yeah, I can't comment or freaking
You've been
or
trashing
do anything,
Zuckerberg too
really.
much, huh?
It's one of those things. Yeah, I don't really understand it. No, it's weird because I actually I can post in
Mhm.
the page, and I can post on my Facebook. I've been banned from that group.
But
I'm
don't
just
you
too
run the group?
offensive for the Prepping Badass group.
Aren't you the one who's in
Yeah, I'm
charge
the
of it?
administrator. I'm like, I don't really understand what's
All
happening.
right.
So I don't know. Whatever. Teach his own. So don't be offended if I don't, like your thing. Now, I think a lot of people are switching over to Parlor. Is that one of these apps that?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I'm going to look into that. But isn't that one of those right wing fascist groups that you post your racist rants on?
Yeah, where you put the racist
Okay.
stuff. I think I saw something about Mayhem Country Living going over the Parlor.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people going over there.
And I've a few other guys are heading over that way. I know Sons of Liberty Gunworks was trying to get me to go to MeWe. I don't even know what that one is either. But I don't know. I just don't care that much. You'd think that somebody who runs or has a podcast would care about like social media and stuff like that. But
unfortunately, I don't think either of us really care about it. I go on Facebook and go on the Prepping Badass page, and then really that's it.
Yeah, it's like I'm good.
But I try and stay away from social media in general, because I'd rather not everybody know exactly what I'm up to. Keep it small, keep the group small. But aside from that, anything else going on in the world, Chuck?
That's all I got. Hey, I don't want to bore you guys, right? Yeah, no, they still haven't really sorted out what Trump's going to do with his whatever election stuff, and who knows? I mean, I guess everybody else has sorted it out, but Trump hasn't sorted it out. How about that? They're still waiting for things, and it just there's so much distrust in America, and people don't know what's going on, and I don't know. It just makes you want to turn it all off, Stop the noise, hide your guns, and hope for the best.
And I would suggest on stocking up. I think we're getting ready for a second wave of this COVID bullshit. And whether you worry about it or not, I would stock up on anything that you might be running low on your preps.
Yeah, I did go to Sam's Club yesterday, and there was no toilet paper.
Gone again, huh?
Again. Yeah. Gone again. So, if we can give you a little warning, hopefully you start resupplied when things were good. Now, remember the order of things. It was like toilet paper disappeared, then tissues disappeared, then paper towel disappeared. Now, there were still tissues and there was still paper towel. So, there were flushable wipes, which I know Kevin would like to remind everybody.
They will go down the toilet, but they will fuck things up later on down the line.
But, that's how life is. So just make sure you have your stuff in order is all we can report. With Facebook cracking down, it kind of seems to be the way of the world that if you have a differing opinion and don't seem to agree with the mainstream or the norm or whatever the media wants to present as the official agenda of the country, then you seem to get shunned a little bit and become an outcast. So make sure you're doing what you need to protect yourself and your stuff and protect your ideas. And with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass Podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.